Well, hey, friends at Summit Church. So thankful that you are watching this on the heels of our Every Child Sunday. It was an incredible weekend where we were able to gather and hear from some of our partners. We had a live stream on Sunday night. Hopefully you were able to watch that. If you weren't able to view our live stream, you can find a recording of that at summitlife.com or on our YouTube page. Would highly recommend that you go back and engage in that as we've talked about what it means to care for vulnerable children as followers of Jesus at Summit Church. We're continuing in that conversation right now about what it means to take next steps in your caring for vulnerable children. And we are joined by some of our dear friends at Summit Church, Josh and Maggie Stewart. You guys may know Josh as the community and care pastor at our Naples congregation, and his lovely wife, Maggie. And so, Josh, why don't you tell us really quick about your family, and then we'll hop into some questions about your foster care journey and the next steps you took.
Yeah, I'd love to. So Maggie and I have been married coming up on 11 years in December, which is exciting.
That's awesome.
And we have currently 5 little ones in the house. We have 4 that are our biologically, and then we have a foster daughter. So our oldest is Naomi. She's 8 years old. And then we have Liam, who is, she just turned 9. So she's actually 9 years old.
Even better.
That's right. And then we have Liam, who is 6, Aiden, who is 4, Roman is 2, and then we have a foster daughter named Isa Lynn, who is 3 years old, who is currently with us.
Awesome. That's why we have wives, to remind us of our kids' birthdays.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it. All of my kids just roll up the next time, and I never get them right in the first place. Well, you guys certainly have a full house of children, and you guys have taken the next step to step into foster care. And so, Maggie, just answer this question for me real quick. What was it that caused you guys to step into foster care? Why did you do that?
So for us, God placed a heart for foster care, like a burden for us for a while beforehand. We just knew a lot of people involved in it. When he opened that door for us, we really stepped in. But really the main reason why was just, it was a physical way for us to represent how God had brought us into his family, that we were orphans and he cared for us and loved us. So that was our way to physically be able to express that for kids who needed a place.
I love that. That's really incredible when we really begin to see the gospel in fresh new ways, when we reflect the Father's heart. And so I love that. What have you seen God do in your foster care journey? I know that you guys have had kids in your home, been able to care for them. How have you seen God at work on this foster care journey?
Yeah, so we've seen God do a lot of really awesome things through this journey. I would say what sticks out when you ask that question is actually what God's done within our own hearts as we stepped into fostering. When you think about stepping into fostering, you think about how you're taking a child, right, from a really hard situation, and you're bringing them into a safe home that you can care for them. They've experienced a lot of trauma, and you can kind of protect them from all of that, which is great. So it's a big part of foster care. But one thing that I don't think Maggie and I really processed through enough was how much God wanted to use foster care in order to sanctify us to look more like Jesus. We think, in our lives, there's a lot of hidden idols of the heart that are going on. And what has happened to us through foster care is God's exposed those things. Like, we kind of want a life that's very comfortable. We want one that's very easy. We even think about stepping into these kids and we can often view ourselves as their savior. But what happens when you step into foster care is your life isn't comfortable anymore, right? These kids have come from really hard situations and a lot of trauma and baggage that they bring in. Your life's definitely no longer easy, right? Because you're added a new child who doesn't know you, and they got to get to know them. They're getting to know you. You're trusting them. They're trusting you. And one thing that God has really just convicted us of, at least especially with our first placement, is just savior complex. We can often fall into the lie that we're their savior, right? Like, we're giving them the home, we're giving them the protection, we're providing for them. And God has very lovingly reminded us that we are not their saviors. We are offering a safe place for them, but he is still their savior. So sanctification has been a big process that God is continuing to do, that he has done, and exposing to us. So foster care is hard, and it's especially hard when we battle with our own idols in our own heart. But by God's grace, he's used it to shape us a little more like Jesus. So that's been a big part of our journey.
I love that. What a cool even thing to think about, that as we care for vulnerable, God cares for us and shapes us and uses those situations to make us more like him. It's certainly not what we always expect, but rarely is God doing what we expect him to do. He does it in a different way. So, man, I love seeing that, and just know from talking with you, Josh, on the journey and just seeing the way that God is shaping you. And so be encouraged. It's evident in that for you. So, obviously this whole theme that we've been talking about is taking the next steps. And so we just had our whole weekend about it, and we're going to continue to bring that before our people here at Summit Church. But what would you say to someone considering stepping into foster care? What's a great next step for them as they seek out this journey?
Yeah, so we would probably both say to find a current foster family and ask them to dinner. Sit down to dinner and ask them their experience. Ask them what they wish they would have known, what they learned. Just get their current experience, positive and negative, and you get like real life situations. I think that's the best next step to take when you're considering it, because it's a lot of information thrown at you, but they can make it more practical.
Yeah, and I'd say if you don't know anyone who's currently like a foster family, Mag and I would love to grab dinner with you or to meet with you and connect. So you can always reach out to us, and if you don't know anybody else, we would love to, share our experience with you and to be able just to answer any questions that you might have.
Yeah, I think one of the scariest things about stepping into this type of journey of caring for vulnerable children is that you're afraid you're going to be alone, but there's really an incredible community that you can find if you seek it out. And so I know that you guys have found that, and I know both of you well enough to know that you would want to be that community for other people. And so I would encourage you who are thinking and processing what the next step for me is in foster care, to do what they said and to just begin to ask the questions. Get their number or their email and shoot them an email, or find some other families that you can do and take the next step. Because here's the reality. As of October in Southwest Florida, there were 508 children in foster care, with more needing to be placed every day. And so the need is there. And it's time for us to continue to care for vulnerable children in whatever ways God has stirred in our heart to take the next step. And so, Josh and Maggie, we love you guys. You're the best. So grateful for you. Love the work God is doing through you guys at Naples and through the foster care system. Thanks for all that you do, and thanks for sharing your story with us.
Thanks, Adam.
Thanks.